Hi everyone and welcome back to Mark Anthony's Music Picks. Today is episode 169. In today's episode, as you can see from the title, I'm going to be reviewing the very well respected and much loved minimal label, as I'm calling it, known as ODE, O-D-E. ODE is in the segment of the minimal tech house realm that I would call like the blank label segment, where the artwork that's on the records is meant to be a little bit mysterious, right? So a lot of times you'll see these types of labels. They'll have like a white circle center label on the record, and they'll hit it with a stamp, and at that point maybe like you get an image of somebody's face, or maybe you're looking in the runout grooves to try to determine like what the record is and what the release number is. But my point is that it's not that the labels are not filled with logos and information about release dates and all that. It's meant to be it's the music is meant to have a mysterious aura around it to basically preserve the fundamental underground nature of it. So I think in the context of this blank label tech house, as I like to call it, I think ODE would be considered a very premier label, maybe one of like the top 5 in the minimal elongated tech house space that's really ever existed up until this point. The ODE series is under the parent label Rora, and R-O-R-A. Rora is owned and founded by Romar, and there's another person on there, Ravdan, or something along those something along those lines. Where I'm not sure exactly if the second person that's involved with the label is a producer. I haven't looked down that path, but you would think with an artist name like Romar that it's like almost a lock that the guy's Romanian, and maybe he is fundamentally, but I know that he, at least on Discogs, it says in his profile that he's French. So I didn't want to I didn't want to mislead you there by saying that he was a Romanian producer, although I'm sure he has toured and done gigs there. I'm willing to guess that without even having researched it, because the sound of the ODE label is very, very much in the minimal realm. For today, I have 5 records plus an honorable mention that I've curated from the ODE catalog that I want to review with you. And one thing I want to point out before I get started talking about these is, remember I was saying in the intro that these records are mysterious on the outside, right? So if you were at a gig and somebody showed this to you, you would not be able to glean much information from it. Even if you took a picture of it, the most you would get is this little tiny hexadecimal code there. That's what that is. That's a hexadecimal code is something that programmers use to designate a color. I used to write HTML, and I'm pretty sure that there were places where you could drop a hexadecimal code like that with 6 alphanumerics in it, and it would generate like the corresponding color to it. So for my own sanity in this episode, I'm not going to be reading off the track names as if they are hexadecimal. I'm just going to call them the color that they are. It's basically a color series in disguise, which, as I've said before in my previous episodes, like my last episode I did was for circulation color series. People love to collect color series. It makes it fun, and it just becomes like the yellow one, right? It becomes the yellow one. And let's start talking about the yellow one. I'm gonna rate the albums in I would say in my attempt at ascending strength. So it's like a count up towards the best one. I saved the best one for last. But even the weakest one out of this 5 that I've chose for you, or 6, is still really good. Everything on this label is good. So let's get started. The yellow, I picked the B side here. And I love this. This is like the kind of drummy tool that I would love to play out to people. I've always considered myself to be an opening DJ, or more inclined towards opening, because I like lower energies and I like pacing, and I like tracks that are like 8, 9, 10 minutes long. So I think if I were ever given a 2 to 3 hour opening set, I would just be, it would be right in my wheelhouse to play those types of records to people. This would fit right in there. The B side is very close to being a DJ tool, but it's not. I think it actually has enough of a structure that I would say it's just like a very sparse track. A very sharp, hard-hitting drums in here. And this just dawned on me recently while I was making this episode. There's a guy on YouTube named Chris Rosani that operates out of New York. He goes to a lot of parties up there. And he went to see Danny Tenaglia at one of his Stacks parties, Stacks like stacks of speakers. And he calls it Stacks because Tenaglia brings in his own sound system, like they used to do in old school clubs, where there would be like 4 to 6 stacks set up in either like a rectangle or a hexagon around the center of the dance floor, so that no matter where you were inside of the circle, the sound was good. I have not gone to a Stacks party, but that's like the kind of stuff that really gets me excited to go to a party. Conversely, I go to a lot of parties in Philly. I won't name names, but Philadelphia does not have adequate sound systems really in any of its clubs. I can't think. There's never been a 5-star system in Philadelphia, as far as I can tell, and I'm pretty confident in making that statement. There might have been some 3.5, 4 stars back in the day, but the sound systems that people are passing for like as adequate now, and they're bringing in headliners on to play on now in Philadelphia, like they're really bad. They're really bad. They'll put all the speakers up in the front of the club, right in front of the DJ booth. So if you're standing like dead center in front of the DJ booth, about 15 feet back, you'll get kind of like the sweet spot. But if you're anywhere else in the room, it just kind of sounds like trash, and it makes like all the tracks that are played through the sound system kind of like dilute into this like weird garbage, non-distinct sound. It's really bizarre. I think it might also be a combination of the fact that the Philly DJs have bad taste, so then they're putting like bad tracks through a bad sound system. But I'm pretty sure even if you played like really high quality tracks on shitty Philly sound systems, that they would get degraded like pretty significantly. It all just turns into this like homogenous garbage sound, and for that reason, like I pretty much am like done going out in Philly anymore. Like I might go out in New York at some point, like I'm getting up in the years, but if I'm gonna do it, it's got to be at a party like Stacks, like I was saying with Tenaglia, where I know that they brought in the best sound system that they could get their hands on. So anyways, back to the record. Track B here. I'm pretty sure that I identified a track that Tenaglia was playing as the B side here, but I'm also not sure. So I think what you hear, if you just hang out to the end of this video, I'll play the Tenaglia Stacks clip. Actually, no, I'll drop it in here in the middle for you, and then I'll cut over to this. Let me know down in the comments if you think that it's the same record or if it's a different track. I'm pretty sure that I've actually made a successful ID on it, which blows my mind, because when I first heard the Tenaglia Stacks track like playing, I was like, oh, that sounds badass. I would love to get the ID for it. But it was so generic that when I tried to Shazam it, like Shazam just couldn't get a hold of it, because there's not much to it. It's very sparse, like I said. But it might actually be this. So let me know if you guys think I got it. Next one that I wanted to review for you here out of the Ode series, working our way up the ladder in complexity and awesomeness of these tracks, is the Fuchsia one. Not to be confused with the Deep Dark Red. There's another album or 12-inch on the Ode series that looks kind of like this, but as you can see, this is more of like a half fuchsia pink red, and the number is FF0099. I believe it's the I'm not going to get the A and B sides right here, but either way, there's one of them on here that I picked just for the bass line. And if you look at the record, I'll be able to actually identify it this way. Yeah, I think it's the B side here. I think it's the B side. There's a couple of stripes in here, and these stripes are drops where the bass line comes in. And one of the things that I've noticed about the Ode series is like these things are mastered to like tear the club up. The bass is really, really heavy on all these records, and it's designed to crush like the most supreme systems. So I'm choosing this track just simply because of how low the bass hits when it comes out of these drops here. These two little lines here. This is where the damage gets done by this track. So check this out. Let me know what this thing does to your subwoofer when you hit play here. And my third pick for you is the deep blue / almost purple one. This one I actually had a really hard time deciding which one I wanted to feature in the episode. The B-side is a very classic minimal sound. Like to me the classic minimal era was like Cadenza in 05, 06, 07. And there's that certain Ricardo Villalobos, Luciano sound bank that was in use there. And like some of the, like at the same time, some of those like goofy minimal sounds that you would hear on a Minus record or other minimal records that haven't aged well. So the B-side here uses all of those sound banks, but to very, very great effectiveness. I mean, it's like they got some sounds of the era, but it still somehow manages to be very timeless. So I almost chose the B-side, but the A-side is just so smooth. One of the things that you'll notice if you listen to a lot of Ode records is some of the records have low riding melodics that sit in the background, and that melodic feature or element is what separates an Ode record from some other kind of not fully fleshed out or kind of crappy Rominimal record where you're like, oh, it's just so boring, right? If Rominimal has a trap that it falls into, it's boringness, it's loopiness, and the thing that makes it not be boring is when you accompany those clicky minimal percussion patterns with melodics. As soon as a melody kicks in, everybody on the dance floor that has been listening to Tech House for the last hour with just drums and beats and bass lines, as soon as that melody comes in, they all go, ah, right? It's like it's a release. It's like it's the hook. It creates a moment, and the A side has that. The A side also has really good chanting that it's kind of like it's far enough away in the audio recording that you can't really tell what the guy's saying, but it sounds kind of like a meditative lecture. And it reminded me, I just pulled this out, it reminds me a lot of the Sebastian Mueller direct experience. This is half of Minologue for people that aren't as familiar with Sebastian. But in direct experience, there's a girl basically giving you a guided meditation with a Minilogue beat, which is that's a great formula for success. And I feel the same vibe that I get in that record as I do when I listen to the A side here. So for that reason, I went with the A side here. I think that this is just slightly stronger than the B side, but if you're looking for an affordable ode to invest in and you want to get like the most bang for your buck, A side and B side on this blue/purple, this crushes.
In their conversations, or these days particularly, I'm seeing the youth in United States trying to form a whole sentence with just one word. I see a whole lot of people in India also have picked these things up. This is one way of bringing the right kind of reverberation in the system. Why this is important is, if you simply become silent within yourself, there is no better way, it is the ultimate way. If you can just simply become still within yourself, that is the best way. If that's not happening, the next best and the next best is like this. You can say Shiva is the closest thing to stillness.
Okay, and now we're in the number 2 spot for this episode. Which one is he gonna pick? For this, I went with the Everything But the Girl remix on the light blue. Tracy Thorn has a great voice. I've always loved Everything But the Girl remixes. I have a ton of them in my collection, probably at least 10, and this one here really is got to be in the top 3. I was talking towards the last track about the melodics, and if you like the melodic nature of that last one that I played, you're really gonna like this, because this one doubles down on the melody. It takes a little segment of the original Everything But the Girl track and just kind of like loops it in a pretty straightforward way. I mean, there's nothing overly sophisticated about it, but it's just the way that those notes, they're just good notes, right? They're good notes, and when you loop that out for 9, 10, 11 minutes and put it under Tracy's voice, you come out with something that people just go absolutely crazy over. And my final number 1 pick for you here, I believe this is Sepp. If you guys want to train spot some of the producers on here and tell me who did what, I would love to hear it. I think this is Sepp. This is the white one, and I believe the side that I listen to the most is the B side. It's the Justify My Love remix with Madonna. I'm a big Madonna fan, especially her first 5 to 6 albums that came out in the late 80s and early 90s. I have all of those. After that, I started to, I think Bedtime Stories and Erotica were the last 2 that I purchased. And after that, I think Ray of Light as an album kind of was where I parted ways with her for the most part. But I mean, she's still got some killer singles that have come here and there over the years. So Madonna is somebody that I would go and see live anytime. I'm just waiting for somebody to invite me so I don't have to go by myself. But I would love to go see her do a performance before she gets too old and can't really do it anymore. Justify My Love, though, crazy remix here. I'm pretty sure it's Sepp because I have other Sepp records, and Sepp knows how to smash it with drums. There's something about the drum pattern here that I could listen to it. I know this is like a 10, 11 minute record, but it just doesn't get old to me. I've even like played the YouTube version of this record like while I go for walks or while I go to the gym, and it's just one of those beats that really gets me inspired. So let me know if you guys agree that Justify My Love is the best Ode remix in the entire series. I think it's number one. Crazy recognizable 90s vocal combined with Sepp hitting his absolute stride. I don't think you can top that.
I don't want to be your mother. I don't want to be your sister either. I just want to be a lover. I want to be a baby. Kiss me. That's right. Kiss me. I want to kiss you in Paris. I want to hold your hand in Rome. I want to run naked in a rainstorm. Make love in a train. Cross country.
All right, so this concludes my review of the Ode series. I hope you enjoyed these picks, and as an honorable mention, before I go, I'll say thank you to Romar for the awesome records. The first record that I ever bought from the Ode series was this green one, and I'll play us out with this one. Play us out like, what's that guy's name? The newscaster that freaked out. What does that mean to play us out? I'll play us out with the green one here. I love the haunted stabs in this. I still think that this one would go off, and if you like the sound in the green Ode, there's also a track by Dorisberg that I think would be a great accompaniment to this. Like maybe you could play the Dorisberg first and then play into this, or you could play this one first and go into the Dorisberg. But the track that Dorisberg had features that reminds me of this is called Transform.